So, family and friends, officers of Alhambra, and of course, our Lodge officers, I want to welcome you to Alhambra Lodge's virtual installation of the 2021 officers. I want to begin by thanking all the brethren this year and for the past 2 years, actually. And while this past year has been challenging and we have been held at a perpetual social distance, we were able to come together to serve our community. This year, this was the first time that we hosted a voting place for Alhambra citizens to cast their vote for the presidential election. And as recently as yesterday, we came together with city officials of Alhambra, Alhambra Fire Department, Alhambra Police Department, as well as local companies to gather and distribute 200 meals to Alhambra residents that were in need. So, gentlemen, I want to commend you. I want to commend my brethren for not allowing the current situation to keep us from what we do best, and that is be Masons. We held true to our obligations to our community and to our fellow man. And I thank you so much for the past 2 years. Everything else, the 125th anniversary, the upgrades to the lodge, pale in comparison to what we were able to accomplish this year. And I want to let you know that one of the reasons why we are progressing in our line is because we want to demonstrate that Freemasonry is determined to continue, regardless of whatever challenges we may face. The installation of officers this year takes on a special meaning because we are showing our strength. And we are showing that nothing is going to stop us from moving into 2021 and beyond. So again, my brethren, my fellow officers, thank you for the past 2 years. They've been amazing, wonderful. And at this point, I want to say we are on a trajectory to not only become more visible in our communities, but we are also on a trajectory to grow as we have many new applicants waiting for their first degrees, and with many more to come. And this is all because of your hard work. So thank you again. At this point, I would like us all to observe a moment of silence. Unfortunately, this year hasn't been all perfect, and we've lost a few members, several of which are past masters of our lodge. And as I call their names, I want all of us to remember them for who they were, what they represent to us and to Freemasonry, and never let their memories die in our hearts. So long as we're around, may they always live in our hearts. Worshipful Robert C. Coe. Worshipful Tom Davis, both past masters of Alhambra Lodge. My dear friend David Hellam, past master. William Errett, Gerald Hefty, Roger Mayers, Robert Matheson, Edward McDonald, Richard Tracy. Thank you. So as we move forward at this time, I would like to introduce the installing team. Our installing chaplain, the Grand Chaplain, the Very Reverend Mark J. McNee. Our Master of Ceremonies, the Grand Standard Bearer, Worshipful Paul Bazarkanian. And our installing officer, the most worshipful Grand Master of Masons in California, the most worshipful Arthur H. Weiss. My dear brother Weiss, I hand it off to you.
Brother Master of Ceremonies, you may begin.
Brethren and friends, please welcome into the virtual lodge the master and installing officers. But we did that.
Brother Master of Ceremonies are the officers of this lodge, lately chosen, present, and ready to be installed in their respective offices.
They are within the virtual lodge, most worshipful sir, and await your pleasure.
Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will read the names and offices of the brethren present to be installed.
John Harney, Master. Eli Stefan, Senior Warden. Isaac Lopez, Senior Deacon. Gonzalo Sanin, Junior Deacon. Juan Lopez, Chaplain. Anthony Castaneda, Secretary. Alex Lee, Treasurer. Adrian Howard, Marshal, and Cesar Medrano, Tyler.
In accordance with the teachings of our institution, it is our duty, before entering upon any great or important undertaking, to invoke the aid and blessing of God. Let us, therefore, reverently unite with our chaplain in an address to the throne of grace.
Thank you, most worshipful. Please join me in prayer to the higher power by whatever name we honor him. Great architect and ruler of the universe, we reverently invoke thy blessing at this time. Grant us thine aid in our present undertaking, that all we may do shall be done with an eye single to thy service and to the good of Freemasonry. May those who are now about to be invested with the government and conduct of this lodge be endued with wisdom to instruct their brethren in their duties, and may they be continually guided by the unerring counsel which thou hast given in the great book of nature and revelation. May brotherly love, relief, and truth always prevail among the members of this lodge. May they be impressed with a comprehension of their duty to thee and to each other, that this lodge may be the means of lasting good in this community, and to thee we shall ascribe all the honor and glory. Amen.
So motivate.
Kindly repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brother Master of Ceremonies, the next line is yours.
Most worshipful sir, the officers of this lodge lately chosen are present and ready to be installed in their respective offices.
You will then present the brother who has been appointed Tyler of this lodge.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Medrano, who has been appointed Tyler of this lodge.
Brother Medrano, you have been appointed Tyler of this lodge, and you will now be invested with the jewel and implement of your office. As the sword is placed in the hands of the Tyler to enable him effectually to guard against the approach of cowens and eavesdroppers, and suffer none to pass or repass, except such as are duly qualified, so should it admonish us to set a guard over our thoughts, a watch over our lips, and post a sentinel over our actions, thereby preventing the approach of any and every unworthy thought and deed, and preserving consciences void of offense toward God and man. You will now take your proper place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, I'm sorry, I missed a name. Is the senior steward present?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
present.
senior steward is not junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then which one did I miss? So let me get it right here. Which one
Senior
is not
steward.
missed today?
Junior steward is not here.
Correct, but everybody else is, correct?
Yes,
That you had on
yes.
your list. Okay, I
Yes.
apologize for interrupting, but I thought I missed something when you introduced everybody.
No.
Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the senior steward.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Shu, who has been appointed senior steward of this lodge.
Brother Sue, you have been appointed senior steward of this lodge, and I will now instruct you in your duties. In olden times, your province was to superintend and provide for the festivals of the craft, to assist in the collection of dues and subscriptions, to keep an account of the expenses for refreshments, and to see that the tables were properly supplied and every brother properly and suitably provided for. In modern times, however, the provision for actual refreshment has diminished, and your principal function will now be to prepare candidates for admission, to perform those duties which Masonic custom has assigned to you on days of procession. Receive the jewel of your office together with the white rod. You will now repair to your respective place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the marshal.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Howard, who has been appointed marshal of this lodge.
Brother Howard, you have been appointed marshal of this lodge, and you will now be invested with the jewel and symbol of your office. The baton is an emblem of command and is sufficiently significant of your duties. You will, under the direction of the master, take charge of all processions of the lodge. And you are enjoined that the proper performance of many of our ceremonies will depend upon the manner in which your duties are discharged. You will now take your proper place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will now present the senior and junior deacons.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brothers Lopez and Sanin, who have been appointed senior and junior deacons of this lodge. This certificate vouching for the proficiency of the senior deacon.
Brothers Lopez and Sanin, you have been appointed deacons of this lodge, and you will now be invested with the jewels of your office. Those jewels indicate that it is your province to attend upon the master and wardens and act as their proxies in the active duties of this lodge. It will be your especial duty, Brother Senior Deacon, to carry orders from the Worshipful Master in the east to the Senior Warden in the west and elsewhere about the lodge as required. Attend to all alarms at the door of the preparation room. Receive and conduct candidates. Introduce and accommodate visiting brethren. You, Brother Junior Deacon, to carry messages from the Senior Warden in the west to the Junior in the south and elsewhere about the lodge as directed. Attend to all alarms at the door and see the lodge duly tiled. Those rods, my brothers, distinctive of your offices, will now be entrusted to your care. And now, believing from your past deportment in the lodge that your duties will be discharged with ability and zeal, I dismiss you to your respective places. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the chaplain.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Lopez, who has been appointed chaplain of this lodge.
Worshipful brother, that holy book which adorns our sacred altar is the great light in masonry and forever sheds its benignant rays upon every lawful assemblage of free and accepted Masons. Teach us from its life-giving precepts. Invoke upon our labors the blessing of that divine being whose infinite goodness it so fully reveals and unfolds to us, and guide us by its lessons of wisdom and truth. And you will have faithfully fulfilled your important trust. It is your duty to perform those solemn services which we should constantly render to our great Creator, and reverently to allure to brighter worlds and lead the way. And thus, by elevating our thoughts, strengthening our virtues, and purifying our minds, prepare us for admission into the society of the blessed in the realms of life and light eternal. It is fitting that an emblem of the sacred volume should be the jewel of your office, and with it you will now be invested. You will now take your proper place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the Secretary-elect.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Castaneda, who has been elected Secretary of this lodge.
Brother Castaneda, you have been elected Secretary of this lodge and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. I am persuaded that in your hands, the pens will make an enduring record, not only to your praise, but also to the welfare of this lodge. It is your duty to observe the will and pleasure of the worshipful Master. Keep a faithful record of all things proper to be written. Transmit a copy of the same to the Grand Lodge when required. Receive all monies from the brethren. Pay the same to the treasurer and take his receipt therefore. You will now take your proper place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the Treasurer-elect.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Lee, who has been elected Treasurer of this lodge.
Brother Lee, you have been elected Treasurer of this lodge, and you will now be invested with the jewel of your office. The keys have a twofold significance. They are instruments to bind as well as to make loose, to make fast as well as to open. They will never, I am confident, be used by you in any other manner than that which the Constitution, laws, and regulations of the lodge shall direct. You are to receive all money from the secretary, keep a just and accurate account thereof, and pay the same out by order of the worshipful master with the consent of the lodge. You will now take your proper place. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will present the junior warden-elect.
He's not present, most worshipful sir.
Okay, that's the one I missed.
Yeah.
Gotcha, sir. Thank you. You will present the senior warden-elect.
Most worshipful sir, I present to you for installation Brother Stefan, who has been elected senior warden of this lodge. He is of good morals, true and trusty, and possesses the love and confidence of his brethren. This certificate vouches for his proficiency.
Brother Estefan, you've been elected senior warden of this lodge, and you will now be invested with the jewel of your station. The level, my brother, demonstrates that we are descended from the same stock, that we partake of the same nature and share the same hope, and that although distinctions among men are necessary to preserve subordination, yet no eminence of station should make us forget that we are brethren. For he who is placed on the lowest spoke of fortune's wheel may be entitled to our regard, because a time will come, and the wisest know not how soon, when all distinction, save that of goodness, shall cease, and death, the mighty leveler of human greatness, reduce us to the same state. Your regular attendance on our stated meetings is essential. In the absence of the master, you are to govern the lodge. In his presence, you are to assist him in the governance of it. I firmly rely on your knowledge of masonry and attachment to the lodge for the faithful discharge of the duties of this important trust. Look well to the west. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will now present the brother who has been elected to discharge the important duties of master of this lodge.
Most worshipful sir, I take pleasure in presenting to you Brother Harding, who has been duly elected to serve as master of this lodge.
Is it known that Brother Harney is well skilled in our ancient craft? Is he zealous in his regard for the interests of our order? And is he duly qualified to discharge the duties of the master's chair?
It is well known that he is all this, worshipful sir. This certificate vouching for his proficiency is evidence that he is well skilled in our ancient craft. I find him to be of good morals, true and trusty. And as he is a lover of the fraternity, I doubt not that he will discharge his duties with fidelity and with honor.
Worshipful sir, the brethren of this lodge, reposing confidence in your integrity, in your zealous regard for the interests of masonry, and in your ability to discharge the duties of the master's chair, have chosen you to occupy that honorable position during the ensuing year. Are you willing to accept this important trust?
Accept humbly, most worshipful.
Then, my brother, I shall most cheerfully proceed to install you in the dignified and honorable position to which the suffrage of your brethren have called you, not doubting that the dignity of the Oriental chair will be well preserved in your keeping, and that the interest and welfare of this lodge may be safely confided to your charge. Before commencing with your investiture, however, it is necessary that you should signify your assent to those ancient charges and regulations which point out the duties of a master of a lodge, and which on no account are ever to be neglected or departed from. They are as follows. You agree to be a good man and true, and strictly to obey the moral law. You agree to be a peaceable citizen and cheerfully conform to the laws of the country in which you reside. You promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against government, but patiently to submit to the decision of the Supreme Legislature. You agree to pay a proper respect to the civil magistrate, to work diligently, live credibly, and act honorably by all men. You agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the Order of Masonry, their regular successors, supreme and subordinate, according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren when convened, in every case consistent with the constitutions of the order. You agree to avoid private piques and quarrels, and to guard against intemperance and excess. You agree to be cautious in carriage and behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge. You promise to respect genuine brethren and to discountenance impostors and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry. You agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and to propagate the knowledge of the art. You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge or General Assembly of Masons that is not subversive of the principles and groundwork of Masonry. You admit that it is not in the power of any man or body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry. You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all the duties of Masonry on convenient occasions. You admit that no new lodge should be formed without permission of the Grand Lodge, and that no countenance should be given to any irregular lodge or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of the order. You admit that no person can be regularly made a Mason in or admitted a member of any regular lodge without previous notice and due inquiry into his character. You agree that no visitors shall be received into your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of their having been initiated in a regular lodge. These are among the ancient charges and regulations of free and accepted Masons, and to these your assent must be freely given. Do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done in all ages before you?
I do so promise.
Then, my brother, in consequence of this assurance, and with full confidence in your capacity and zeal, I will now install you Master of Alhambra Lodge number 322. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will invest him with the jewel of his station. The square, my brother, is an emblem of morality, and as it is the especial badge of the Master's office, it should constantly remind you that not only by precept, but by example, you should promote good morals among the brethren, and thus endeavor to avert the shadow of any scandal or reproach against the fraternity. Your former life has given evidence that this jewel will not be an unmeaning symbol in your hands, and I solemnly charge you to take good care that its luster be not dimmed through any act of yours. I now present to you the Book of Holy Writings. It is the great light in Masonry and should ever be the great law of the Brotherhood. It will guide you to all truth. It will direct you to eternal happiness. And an attentive regard to the divine precepts it contains will ensure you success in the fulfillment of the duties you are now about to assume. The working tools of our craft will next be presented to you, that as the master workman, you may instruct the craftsmen in the various duties and virtues which they have been selected to illustrate. The square teaches us well to regulate our every action and to let our conduct be governed by the principles of morality and virtue. The compass teaches us to limit our desires in every station and never to suffer our passions or our prejudices to become the masters of our judgment. The rule directs the undeviating discharge of all our duties, that we should press forward in the straight path of right and truth without inclining to one hand or the other, in all our doings having eternity in view. The plum is an emblem of moral rectitude. It teaches us to avoid all dissimulation and to pursue that honest and upright course in life which will tend to our elevation in the higher realms of immortality. There are still other important things which you will receive in charge. This book of constitutions you are expected diligently to search, and from time to time to cause its contents to be read in your lodge, that none may remain ignorant of the precepts it enjoins or of the ordinances which it promulgates. This book contains the bylaws of your lodge, which it will be your especial duty to see carefully and punctually executed. And this is the charter, under the authority of which your lodge is held, and which you are carefully to preserve and duly transmit to your successor in the master's chair. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will conduct the master to his station in the east. Worshipful Master, I congratulate you on your ascension to this time-honored seat. The duties incumbent upon you in your exalted station are fraught with grave responsibilities. Remember that the honor, reputation, and usefulness of your lodge will materially depend upon the skill and assiduity with which you manage its concerns, and that the happiness of its members will be generally promoted in proportion to the watchful care with which you cherish the genuine principles of our institution. For a pattern of imitation, consider the great luminary of nature, which, rising in the east, regularly diffuses light and luster to all within its circle. In like manner, it is your province to spread and communicate light and instruction to the brethren of your lodge. Forcibly impress upon them the dignity and high importance of Masonry, and seriously admonish them never to disgrace it. Charge them to practice out of the lodge those duties which they have been taught in it, and by amiable, discreet, and virtuous conduct to convince mankind of the goodness of this institution, so that when a person is said to be a member of it, the world may know that he is one to whom the burdened heart may pour out its sorrows, one to whom distress may prefer its suit, one whose hand is guided by justice, and whose heart is expanded by benevolence. In short, by a diligent observance of the bylaws of your lodge, the constitutions of Masonry, and above all, the Holy Scriptures, which are given as the rule and guide of your faith, you will be enabled to acquit yourself with the highest honors here and lay up a crown of rejoicing, which shall continue when time shall be no more. Brothers, Senior and Junior Warden, you are too well acquainted with the principles of Masonry to warrant any distrust that you will be found wanting in the discharge of your respective duties. Suffice it to say that what you have seen praiseworthy in others, you should carefully imitate. And what in them may have appeared defective, you yourselves avoid. You should be examples of discretion and propriety, for it is only by a due regard of our laws and regulations, as shown in your conduct, that you can expect obedience to them from others. You are assiduously to assist the master in the discharge of his trust, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to all whom he shall place under your care. In absence of the master, you will succeed to higher duties. Your acquirements must therefore be such as will ensure proper instruction to the craft. From the spirit which you have hitherto evinced, I entertain no doubt that your future conduct will be such as will merit the applause of your brethren and the testimony of a good conscience. Brethren of Alhambra Lodge number 322, please rise. My brethren, such is the nature of our Constitution, that as some must of necessity rule and teach, so must others, of course, learn to submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers who have been chosen to govern your lodge are sufficiently conversant with the rules of propriety and the laws of the institution to avoid exceeding the power with which they are entrusted. And you are of too generous a disposition to envy their preferment. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim, to please one another and unite in the grand design of promoting happiness. Finally, my brethren, as this association has been formed and perfected in so much unanimity and concord, so may it long continue. May you long enjoy every satisfaction and delight which friendship can afford. May kindness and brotherly affection distinguish your conduct as men and as Masons. Within your peaceful walls, may your children's children celebrate with joy and gratitude the annual recurrence of this auspicious solemnity. And may the tenets of our profession be transmitted through this lodge, pure and unimpaired, from generation to generation. Worshipful Master, it now remains for me to present to you the gavel, the emblem of power. In the hands of the Master, it may be made the instrument of great good or of greater evil. With it, the Master governs his lodge, and the welfare and prosperity of your lodge, in a great measure, depends upon its judicious use. In your hands, I am confident it will be wielded for the best interests of your brethren. Brother Master of Ceremonies, you will now make proclamation.
By order of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of California, I now proclaim the officers of Alhambra Lodge number 322 to be duly installed.
All the brethren will, under the direction of the Master of Ceremonies, salute the Worshipful Master by the battery of 3 times 3.
Together, brethren.
Worshipful Master, behold your brethren. Brethren, behold your Master.
Thank you, most worshipful. Brethren, I want to thank everyone who has attended today. I want to take a moment to also thank the installing team, Very Reverend Grand Chaplain Worshipful Mark McNee, Grand Standard Bearer Paul Bazarkanian, and Most Worshipful Grand Master Arthur H. White. Thank you very much, and also thank you to all the Grand Lodge officers who are in attendance as well. These are certainly trying times for us all, and it is good to see that we are willing and capable of still meeting and continuing our craft in whichever way is possible. I also want to thank all the brethren who have volunteered to stay here today, stay in their offices for this ensuing Masonic year. I know that some of you have been in the same office for more than 2 years, and I truly thank you. I also thank the brethren who have taken up any new offices. The lodge is made better by you being there. Particularly, I would like to thank Worshipful Hugo Lara. Worshipful Lara has really guided and shown us great leadership over the last 2 years. We went through the 125th anniversary, which was a very big event, and he was very masterful in his leadership of getting that project up and going and finished. He has also been great over the last year in his leadership of the lodge, dealing with the pandemic. And from the bottom of my heart, Brother Lara, I wish to thank you for everything you've done for the lodge, and also the standard that you have recently set for us. We look forward to continuing the progress and the road that you have laid out for us. Also, brethren, I would like to say just a few words in general for all the brethren of Alhambra Lodge. These are tumultuous times. We certainly see something that we have not seen in our lifetimes or in our parents' lifetimes, possibly. There is a lot of uncertainty and fear. I believe that at this time, Masonry is most needed in the world. I think that we as individuals, as free and accepted Masons, have been given the tools through our ritual and through our ceremonies to adequately handle and surpass all the uncertainties that are right now affecting the world. Take a look at your rituals. At the first degree are virtues. The virtues are our tools. of how we can conduct ourselves with our fellow man, and how we can bring some peace to them as well. There is quite a lot for us to learn from the rituals, and as it was mentioned before, there's quite a lot that we can help our community and our fellow brothers and sisters in this world by applying those Masonic principles. I would like to take a moment to make some introductions. We'll go through this fairly quickly. Will all past masters of Alhambra Lodge please raise your hands? I'll have to do that too, right? And thank you, brethren, for being here today. Will all past masters of other lodges please, one by one, introduce yourselves? Can we have? That seems to be a little technical, interesting. Raise your hand, past masters of other lodges. Okay. Any members of concordant bodies, please raise your hand. York Rite, Scottish Rite, Shriners, all of them. Thank you. And I will finally introduce our worshipful inspector, Paul Bazarkanian.
Thank you, Worshipful Harney. It is indeed my pleasure to have had a part of this afternoon's installation ceremony for Alhambra Lodge, together with, of course, the most reverend Grand Chaplain, Worshipful Mark McNee, whom every time I see, I feel like I have to confess. And it is a special honor to be working with the most worshipful Grand Master Arthur Weiss. As your district inspector, I'm proud of the way your lodge in the past few years, and especially during these challenging and uncertain times, under the leadership of few of your past masters, such as Eli Stefan and Tom Venegas, and especially Hugo Lara, has not only maintained, but in fact strengthened the bonds amongst its members and the community, always promoting our fraternity's principal tenets: brotherly love, relief, and truth, and embracing our cardinal virtues of faith, hope, and charity. Your lodge's renewed attitude of philanthropy has made a profound difference in the lives of our distressed brethren and the endless efforts of our Masonic Foundation. And I am absolutely confident the same will continue under your leadership. I congratulate you and the officers of Alhambra Lodge and wish you a very exciting, obviously, and successful year. Now it is my honor to introduce Worshipful Al Moen, Assistant Grand Lecturer of Division 7, who will introduce the Grand Lodge officers.
Thank you, Worshipful Paul. Appreciate that. It's my honor now to present the Grand Lodge officers that are present. I'll ask you to hold your applause until they've all been introduced, and we will greet them all at once. From Elk Grove, a past master of Elk Grove Lodge number 173, the Junior Grand Steward, the Worshipful Thomas L. Pryor, Jr. From Riverside, a past master of Temesco Palms Lodge number 314, the Senior Grand Steward, the Worshipful Michael A. Padilla, and his wife, Kelly. From Temecula, past master of Novus Vedras, Lodge number 864, the Senior Grand Deacon, the Worshipful Mark A. Nielsen. From Lake Forest, a past master, San Fernando Lodge number 343, the Grand Sword Bearer, the Worshipful Alberto L. Casanova, Jr. From Glendora, past master, San Marino Lodge number 408, the Grand Standard Bearer, the Worshipful Paul B. Bazarkanian. From Vista, past master of Irvine Valley Lodge number 671, the Grand Marshal, the Worshipful Mark E. Pressey. From Poway, a past master San Diego Lodge number 35, the Grand Orator, the Worshipful Michael D. Thibodeau. From Paris, a past master of Evergreen Lodge number 259, the Assistant Grand Lecturer of Division 3, Worshipful Victor M. Ropak, Jr. I am from Burbank and I serve as Assistant Grand Lecturer of Division 7. From San Francisco, a past master of Phoenix Lodge number 144, the Grand Chaplain, the Very Reverend Mark J. McNee. From Valley Springs, past master of Riverside Lodge number 635, the Grand Lecturer, the Very Worshipful Ricky L. Lawler. From Nevada City, a past master of Nevada Lodge number 13, the Junior Grand Warden, the Right Worshipful G. Sean Matroka. From Escondido, past master of San Diego Lodge number 35, the Senior Grand Warden, the Right Worshipful Randy L. Brill. From Sonoma, a past master of Mosaic Lodge number 218, the Deputy Grand Master, the Right Worshipful Jeffrey M. Wilkins and his wife Liz. Our Grand Master comes from Newberry Park, past master of Conejo Valley Lodge number 807, and it's my honor to introduce his wife, Barbara. Let's greet the Grand Lodge officers and their wives. Now my pleasure to be able to read the bio of the Grand Master and present him at this time. Most Worshipful Arthur H. Weiss. Most Worshipful Weiss was raised a Master Mason in Conejo Valley Lodge number 807 in Thousand Oaks on January 28, 1986. He served as Master of the Lodge in 1991 and 2003. He was presented the Hiram Award in 1997 for his distinguished service to the Lodge. Most Worshipful Brother Weiss served the Grand Lodge as an inspector, as Grand Marshal, and as Grand Chaplain. He has served in all 5 constitutional boards, including 12 years on the California Masonic Foundation. In addition, Worshipful Brother Weiss is an active member of Masonic bodies, other Masonic bodies, including the Los Angeles York Rite bodies, Allied Masonic Degrees, Knight Masons, the Red Cross of Constantine, and the Rosicrucians. He is a 32nd degree KCCH of the Los Angeles Scottish Rite. He is a member of the Order of Eastern Star and served as worthy Grand Patron of the Grand Chapter of California. Worshipful Brother Weiss received a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineer in 1973 from Purdue University. He enjoyed a 42-year career in aerospace and defense at Rocketdyne. He was Executive Director of Missile Defense and of Advanced Programs prior to his retirement in 2015. He continues to consult and started an executive consulting firm. Art and his wife Barbara live in Newberry Park, and they have 1 married daughter. Brethren, ladies, and guests, it is my honor to present the 155th Grand Master of Masons in the state of California, Most Worshipful Arthur H. Weiss.
Thank you, Worshipful Al. I appreciate the introduction. Before I begin my remarks this evening, I have 2 things that I need to take care of. First and foremost, as we proceeded through our ceremony this evening, right after we did the Pledge of Allegiance, I found a note in my script, which I failed to see when we went into the pledge. And I want to acknowledge right now that had I had the note in the right place, Brother George Ramos of the Knights of St. Andrew, he's the first knight of the Knights of St. Andrew for Pasadena Valley Scottish Rite. And Brother George, I wish to apologize for not seeing that note until I had already done the Pledge of Allegiance. So thank you for sticking with us this evening. and being ready to do that, even though I did not give you the opportunity. And second, I want to thank the Grand Lodge officers for being with us through 4 installations this weekend. The majority of you have been to all of them, and I really appreciate your support. I look forward to next weekend where we have some more and the opportunity to get together as a grand family. But the last thing I'm going to ask for you, from you for this weekend is to listen to the speech one more time. Hopefully by the time we're done, you will have it memorized, which of course has been one of my objectives this weekend, that you all memorize the key parts of this speech. But I will be addressing, of course, the brethren of Alhambra Lodge. But thank you again for being with me throughout the weekend. So Worshipful Harney, members of Alhambra Lodge, distinguished members and guests, it has been an honor to install the officers of this lodge into their respective offices. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I wish you an outstanding year and nothing but success as you keep Masonry moving forward in Alhambra. Worshipful John, it was certainly a pleasure to install you as master this evening. Under your leadership, I anticipate Alhambra will continue its role as an outstanding lodge in this area of Southern California. Worshipful Paul Bazarkanian, thank you for your excellent job as Master of Ceremonies. And Worshipful Mark McNee, I appreciate you stepping in and fulfilling the role of installing chaplain. And I am so happy that both of you are part of our grand family. Brethren of Alhambra Lodge and friends, we continue to live in unprecedented times. The current coronavirus surge has caused our state to move backwards in its progress, and in many ways, they've established stricter rules than those established when this pandemic began. I continue to monitor this situation, but I currently have no idea when I will be able to lift my directive prohibiting all in-person meetings. I do know that that day will come, and we will meet again in person, and it'll be one of the happiest days of my year. Thankfully, though, there is positive news on the vaccine front, and that is moving us closer to that happy day. But for now, let us be grateful that we have technology that allows us to continue our tradition of transferring leadership to a new corps of officers at the beginning of a new Masonic year. So given the present situation, what can we accomplish as we wait to reopen? Brethren of Alhambra Lodge, I believe we have a tremendous opportunity to press forward and accomplish much in spite of the current circumstances. The changes that we've experienced this year have given us a rare and incredibly important perspective on everything that we do. It is now leadership's responsibility to take what we have learned and apply it as we lay out a plan for Masonry in California for the next several decades. Your lodge has worked diligently to support our Grand Lodge direction and our philanthropic programs. You are a well-established lodge. As we address the challenges of today, I ask you to draw upon that strong heritage. You are in a unique position to lead Masonry in this area of Southern California and lead it into a new era of influence and impact in your community. I do have several priorities this year. All of them are for the purpose of advancing our new vision, the world in harmony. Our effort to help the world achieve harmony through Masonic principles by the year 2050, our bicentennial year. Our 2025 fraternity plan outlines those actions that we will take over the next 5 years to advance that vision. In two areas, I need the help and focus of our lodges, just like Alhambra Lodge, in order to be successful. The first is the full implementation of our 2025 plan. We've begun to roll out the plan in conjunction with the latest issue of Freemason magazine, titled Designing the Future. This expanded issue examines many aspects of the evolution of our fraternity that we hope to achieve over the next 30 years. For the true success of our vision, we must achieve 3 goals during the 5 years of the 2025 plan. These goals are referred to as its 3 pillars: true friendship, diversity and harmony, and positive awareness. We want these 3 pillars to become true and universal at the lodge level for the communities in which our lodges reside and for our state as a whole. True friendship is the fundamental attribute that brings Masons together in brotherhood, even when they have never met. It is a unique characteristic of the fraternity that is hard for us to define in words, yet we must find ways to show the world what it is and what it can mean as we begin to shape the world in harmony. We must reevaluate our approach to diversity and whether we are doing enough to set a standard that society will want to embrace. Are we truly practicing the values we espouse? Are we doing enough to bring people of different cultures and traditions together? There is much within the world of Freemasonry that we can do to bring together diverse groups who share our values and our worldview. Our doing so can then serve as a model for our communities as they too work to embrace harmony. We must increase the positive awareness of Masonry in our society. We can set standards of true friendship, provide personal growth for those from all walks of life, and commit ourselves to philanthropy and community service, as this lodge has done. But if the public is unaware of our efforts, then they will never see our good works as an example worthy of emulation. Creating positive awareness of our contributions will require us to take a new approach to spreading the word throughout society of the benefits of Freemasonry. While we at the Grand Lodge level can work out the details of the new approach, it will take a coordinated effort from all the lodges in California to produce the meaningful impact necessary to allow us to influence the state as a whole towards harmony. I see Alhambra Lodge playing an important role in this thrust. The second area in which the help of our lodges is essential is my desire to see us increase Masonic family unity. To set the best possible example of diversity and harmony in the world, we must first integrate all aspects of our Masonic family and reach across existing divides to other Masonic groups that share our principles and dedication. Improve communication between the various concordant and appendant bodies and closer relations with independent, coexisting Masonic groups will demonstrate to the outside world more clearly with actions and not just words, our benefit to society. The division-wide, all Masonic body social events planned in the coming year will further this goal and show ourselves that our similarities are infinitely greater than our differences. So tonight I challenge you, the officers and brethren of Alhambra Lodge, to define what part you will play in making our 2025 plan a reality and in promoting Masonic family unity in your area. Revise your strategic plan or write a new one and align it to the fraternity's 2025 plan. Consider how you can bring the bonds of true friendship to an even deeper level with your members so that other men of good moral character will want to join you. Find ways to extend the benefits of Masonry to everyone and create an inclusive, harmonious environment. Raise the bar of your lodge's community engagement and philanthropy to grow the positive awareness of your lodge and of Freemasonry in your community. Reach out to all the Masonic bodies that meet in your area and discuss how you can come together to advance the principles of Freemasonry. Now, at the start of this new fraternal year, explore the possibilities of what each of you individually and all of you collectively can do to advance in these areas and carry your lodge farther and higher than you ever previously imagined. Bravely embrace the next evolution, and you will find that fortune favors the brave. Thank you. Stay safe, be healthy, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you, Worshipful Master. That was challenge accepted. Before we continue, I wanted to say that we have since we have a budget for the installation, and we did not have an actual physical installation but virtual one. The lodge, Alhambra Lodge, has decided to issue a gift card to the installing officers, the Alhambra Lodge officers, and people assisting with the virtual meeting. And this gift card is from us to you so that you may go and have some dinner as if you had been at our installation. And we will be sending those out within the next week or so. Also, most worshipful Grand Master, we have also allocated $2,500 to your charity of choice here, which we believe is the California Masonic Foundation, and we will be issuing that check to the foundation on your behalf within the next week as well.
Thank you, Worshipful. That's extremely generous, and I absolutely appreciate the donation. And as you know, you are correct. The last several years, we have devoted any contributions or donations we've received along the way. They do go to the foundation, and they will be used to support our Childhood Literacy Trust, Raising a Reader, and part of the money will go to our Masonic homes to continue to take care of our senior members. And so I appreciate the gesture and the donation from Alhambra Lodge, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Worshipful.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
No other presentations.
Oh, presentations?
You don't want to make any presentations to the outgoing master, or we forgot about him?
We did not forget, but we've included him as part of the what is it, gift card that we're sending out.
Okay.
So we're sending out to the installing officers and the outgoing master and the officers that are here today, $100 gift card for them to have dinner on us. And so we have other gifts that we're going to give Worshipful Lara, and we'll present those to him at the January State.
All right. Good enough.
One thing that I did want to mention for the brothers, for the January stated meeting, I will be looking at a program to start providing you with food. And what I mean by that is we're going to put together a little box. We're going to talk to either Eusebio or some company that can send you either salmon or steak or some sort of food box that you will have to cook yourself. And the idea behind that is that we will meet at a regular stated meeting time of 6:30. We will sit down and eat together, and then we will have our stated meeting after we eat. Hopefully this will be a way of us to get into the habit of meeting again for stated meetings at 6:30 and sharing something to eat. So more details on that in the next few weeks. And nothing else.
All right. That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Then let everyone know they can go.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Your most your time and here has been most appreciated. I wish you all a wonderful evening, and you may all leave now.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Congratulations, John.
Congratulations, John.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Holidays. Oh,
Thank you.
I want to congratulate all of you again, and you have actually made one of my wishes come true. I've always wanted to be a master of ceremonies, but I've always dreaded the idea of me trying to put a jewel on anybody. But this way, I got it done, and I didn't have to worry about reaching up.
Well, I'm glad, Worshipful Paul, you finally had the opportunity to be Master of Ceremonies. It's a fun job. Even if you do have to reach up, it's a fun job.
Worshipful Paul, we'll ask you to do it again the next time. We can get you a
As long
little
as it's
stool or
virtual.
something.
Need the ladder.
Get in the stool. Get in the stool.
And we'll have to keep that
Yeah, I
in
love
mind
it.
for when Mason reopens the in-person events, Worshipful Paul.
The what? Say again?
We'll remember your fear of overreaching there when masonry gets back into in-person events. We'll remember that one.
The problem with overreaching is just putting the jewel on without hitting the chick.
Stepping stools. Stepping stools.
I was going to say, stepping stools have been used.
Or they can step up to the first step at the east, right?
Well, theoretically, yeah. Theoretically.
No.
I don't know, Paul. I think as a psychologist, I think you just have a latent fear of heights.
Okay.
I never thought of that, but
Well, Worshipful John, thank you again for allowing the Grand Officers to not only be part of this ceremony, but to be your installing team. We really appreciate the opportunity. We look forward to you having a great year. And again, I thank the Grand Lodge officers for being with us all through the weekend. It's great to see all of you. I'm looking forward to next weekend as well. And with that, Worshipful John will take leave of you can go start your own party, which I'm sure you have planned.
Thank you, most worshipful. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good evening.
Take care.
Worshipful Harney, don't forget we still need to close lodge.